Alright, so as the title implies, we're going to talk about the top three, I guess, easy and kind of quick performance enhancers. These methods are actually pretty passive, so they're so good because as long as you train hard and you have the correct programming and protocol, these measures, besides obviously remembering and creating a habit, aren't that challenging to implement, but you're going to reap huge benefits from them when compared to not doing them. The footage in the background today is just of me having my last session of the week. I worked up to a heavy single of the snatch at 110 kilos. I missed 115, but that's alright. And then I also did a bunch of singles at 130 clean and jerk and then some accessories. But let's get into the topic. So, number one is creatine monohydrate. Now, a lot of us understand creatine monohydrate. We've heard of it. We've heard that it could be beneficial. It's a substance that we find naturally in our muscle cells, and it essentially helps our muscles produce energy when we lift heavy things or we use high intensity. Because when you supplement it, you're increasing your stores of phosphocreatine, and this form of energy is stored in the cells, and it helps your body produce more high energy molecules, also known as ATP. Now, this is a really well-researched supplement, and it's been shown to boost workloads, improve cell signaling. It raises anabolic hormones to some degree, it increases cell hydration, reduces protein breakdown, and it lowers myostatin levels, which is fantastic because these levels can inhibit muscle growth. And then on top of that, it can also increase the phosphocreatine stores in the brain, which potentially could improve brain health, and there's some research to show that it helps with preventing neurological disease. Creatine is really easy. I'm not going to discuss to you the protocol and how you use it, but use it every day. It's tasteless, it's very safe, and it's been well proven. So it's something that's so cheap as well. It seems like there'd be not really good reason not to use it. Sure, there's a bit of water retention, and you might feel a bit sick in the loading phase initially if you choose to load, but overall, a really good supplement, and again, another passive intervention which is not too hard. So number two that we'd look at is sleep. Sleep's always been around, obviously. People talk about it a lot. They say how important it is to utilize it, but really we take sleep for granted. There's this mentality of, you sleep when you're dead, you can sleep another time. Sleep takes up, important parts of your day. It's been glorified to sleep less and work harder. But from a training, performance, health, athletic performance perspective, any perspective, if you want to improve, sleep is vital. Now, on average, we're looking to 7 to 9 hours a week. But when you're missing that, or you're not getting enough sleep for your own stress load, you're kind of inhibiting your ability, your training ability. We find that you can have decreased accuracy, you're quicker to exhaustion, your reaction time slows down, the difficulty of learning and decision making increases, your risk for injury rapidly increases, and then risk for illness or immune suppression occurs too. And these are all things that are going to stop you from training, they're going to stop you from being healthy. And if you can't be healthy, then you can't train well. And if you can't train well, it's a vicious cycle, you're not going to be healthy. So getting an appropriate amount of sleep is doing wonders for just your normal cognitive and physical health, but it's also then going to help you perform better. And then we can have a positive cycle rather than a negative vicious cycle. Again, sleep is not quite passive in the sense that you do have to account for it, you have to plan for it, you do have to work on sleeping better, having better sleep hygiene. But once you can get it down pat, sleep is the best natural performance enhancing kind of method there is. Quite literally the best one you can use, both based upon the science and just my personal experience. Good quality, consistent sleep has done wonders for my health and training than nearly anything else. And then for number three, which is the final tip, this is one that's quite passive too, not as easy as creatine monohydrate, potentially a little bit easier than sleep, is protein intake. Obviously, when we're damaging our muscles and we're causing stress upon our cells, whether we're laying down, more fiber, or we're increasing the size of the tissue, or we're even stressing the brain, we need to repair the damage that we create, and that is via protein. Now, for lean muscle mass, for strength athletes, for just athletic performance in general, kind of 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilo of body weight is generally the agreed upon appropriate amount of protein. Now, that's not especially high. If you're on a vegetarian or vegan diet, you may find it a little bit more challenging to get that normally, but it is definitely something that I see with people that train with me, clients, friends, that their protein intake is normally quite low. And it's an easy box to tick. You can take a protein powder, you can start having some other products in your life, like maybe some dairy, or increase your calories otherwise that have protein in it, to allow you to increase the recovery, potentially thus increase your lean muscle mass, which helps with improving your performance, recovering from hard training sessions, and overall just preparing yourself for the next challenging or difficult stress event, which happens to be training in most of the people that are interested in this. So those are my top 3 tips for easy ways to improve your performance. They're not necessarily super difficult. Like I said, some of them are quite passive. You just throw them in some water, you take it once a day, and they're going to make massive changes. They're well studied within the science. Sleep, creatine monohydrate, and increasing protein are all very safe options, and from my experience, they're really commonly missed out in people's routines, and they take them for granted. But if you're trying to